People often ask me, where did dream synergy come from? And the truth is, it didn't begin when I created my first image. It started years earlier, long before I knew what dream synergy would become. Photography has been a part of my life my entire life. My dad was a photographer, and he always had a camera in hand, and he also always equipped my mom with a camera in hand. So I just grew up being photographed, and it seemed normal to me. And when I was in high school, that's when I decided that I wanted to be a photographer. In college, I was very drawn to people, very drawn to people. There was something about, number one, the black and white, because back then it was film. There was no digital back then. And I was always drawn to the eyes. There was something about the eyes of people that I was drawn to, especially children. At the time, I was very drawn to children because they were so innocent and sweet, and they didn't have any barriers, and I felt more comfortable with that. And of course, later I became a children's portrait photographer, and I did really well with that. And children respond to me in a certain way, like they feel safe with me photographing them. But prior to that, to my portrait business, we lived in California, and we lived by a beautiful coastline in Northern California, and it was just a photographer's dream. I would photograph every time we went camping, which was a lot. We would go to the Sierra Nevada mountains, and that was our happy place. That was where we took vacations when we had our children, before our children and after our children. And I photographed the landscape. Little did I know that later those landscape photographs would be a part of my artistic journey with Dream Synergy. So for more than 30 years, I have moved between two different landscapes, the mountains and the beach. Now we live in Florida, and we live very close to the ocean, but we also have a place up in the mountains, and which I love. Camping was such a big part of our lives. It was an escape. I found peace in the mountains. The quiet, away from all of the conveniences of life. We were able to just relax and just be who we are without any distractions. And I long for that all the time. I long for that. I guess you could say I'm a mountain girl. You know, they say, are you beach or are you mountain? I am mountain for sure, even though I am so blessed to live in both places. Especially when life becomes noisy, nature is always where I would go to listen to the sounds of the forest, or the beach, to listen to the waves, to listen to the birds, the wind. Nature has been such a refuge for me in all of my difficulties and struggles in life. Nature has always been the place that has provided me with the peace and the solace that I need. And I feel very connected to God when I am just sitting in His creation and everything is around me and I can just see all the little things that He created. And that is where I feel closest to Him, and it also completely fuels my creativity. It just sets it on fire. And so I often desire to go back to the mountains. So after all those years of photographing nature, having a portrait photography business specializing in children and families, something changed. Something changed in me. We had 4 children whom I love more than anything in this world, and my husband, and our 4 children. I photograph them often, obviously, and I have the best covered walls of my children. It just makes me so full of joy to see them on my walls now that they're grown. But something felt incomplete. I was very lost. I was very lost in the busyness of running a business, trying to make money. Everything I did, I knew if I did that, I would sell it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was very successful at my portrait business, and I had very happy clients and took beautiful photographs of my clients. But there was something missing. There was something deep inside of me that I really wanted to express, but I didn't know how. And it took a breaking of myself in order to find myself. That is truly where I found God. I was so broken and desperate, and He found me, and I asked Him to help me. I said, God, help me to create what is in my heart. You know my heart, oh God. You know what's in there. Give me a new heart and help me to create from what's in it. And He answered. He answered me. So at that point, I had photographs. I had years of beautiful landscapes and years of portraits of my children, but I also still had my children who were my favorite models, and it was because of the connection. It's difficult for me to use other people in my art that are not my children. I'm learning how to do that. So I photographed my children. I photographed my daughters, and I learned with a lot of time and effort at the computer, and a very close friend of mine who taught me Photoshop and taught me just the basics, and it opened up a whole new world for me. It was like I was a child in a playground for the very first time, and I was finally creating what was in my heart. It was amazing, and I was doing it with God. God was with me. I would talk to God throughout all of my creating. I would pray for inspiration, ask him what he thought. We would create together at the computer. I could hear his voice. I could hear him, saying, hey, oh, that's beautiful. And then I would go, oh, that's beautiful. And I would cry. And I just could not believe what he was showing me. And it was something that I know is not of myself. I know that it wasn't me. Yes, I had skills as an artist, doing photography, making portraits. Yes, I could make beautiful portraits, but it was more than just the beautiful landscape and the beautiful portrait. It was something that was happening in the combining of the two. There was something that was there that the human eye cannot necessarily see, but the human heart could feel it. And that's what I was feeling. And that was the synergy. And one of the ways that I taught myself, after my friend taught me how to do the blending, one of the ways that I taught myself was I had a dream. And that's why it's called Dream Synergy. I had a dream, and I wanted to recreate that dream, and that is what I had asked my friend to help show me to do layer masking. And I just kept practicing and practicing, trying to recreate this dream. It was a very complex dream, and I'll say that I really wasn't able to do it in the way that I thought did it justice. It was one of those dreams that stays with you your entire life. I call it a sustainer dream. I know it was from God, and it's never left me. And that was back in 2011 that I had that dream, and now here we are in 2026. But anyway, that's how the name Dream Synergy came to be. Because it started with that dream that I wanted to create. And then everything just went from there. And what happened was I started to create, I started to blend the portraits with the nature, and a series just began. And I believe in a year I created about 30 images, and I printed them all out, and I sat down with my oldest daughter, and I can't say how old she was at the time. I think she was probably 15. And I said, help me to put this into a series, because I knew that I had a series of work, and I knew that it was telling a story. But what was so miraculous about this was we put them in an order that made sense. And I looked at her and I said, oh my gosh, Emily, this is my story. This is exactly my spiritual experience, my breaking, my brokenness, my journey to healing, and everything in between. It's all right here in this series of work. And that's when I really truly believed that God was working through me, and he was healing me as I went along on this journey. And he still continues to heal me as I create with him. I believe that, he is the creator. He created the heavens and the earth and everything in it. And so I believe that when we are acting as a mirror to him and creating, especially creating with him, I believe there's healing in that. Not just for ourselves, but also I believe there can be healing to the viewer of the art that we create um, while we're creating with God. So, this is my story of Dream Synergy. This is how it came to be. Um, and I'm so thankful that I'm here, and I'm so thankful that I had that very first series of work that was so healing to my heart and my soul. And I'm so thankful that I live a life where um, I get to create, and I get to be inspired. And since Dream Synergy, I think that I have made, I don't know, 13 different bodies of work, and all of it, God's hand is in all of it, and His healing is in all of it, because it takes a lifetime to fully heal and fully to become whole, and we really never ever quite get there until we're with Jesus in heaven. But at least in this life, I can experience that healing, and I can go on that journey, and I can experience His presence and His healing in my life, and be able to share that with others. That's what's so important to me, is to be able to share what He's taught me with others and other creatives as well, to be able to share, hey, this is how you truly become your authentic self, is dying to that self, that old you that doesn't suit you, and becoming a new you that suits God, that you can be used by God. You can be a vessel for His glory through your art. And that is so important to me. And so that is why I'm here, and that is why I am sharing all of this with you. I hope that you enjoy this video, and I hope that you continue to follow along.